Today's lesson is Say Cheese, exploring South Korea's retro photo studio trend. Hi, everybody. My name is Roger.
And I'm Mike.
And we're talking about a trend in Korea that has become more and more well-known around the world. It has to do with these photo studios and people going there to take pictures. I think this particular trend has spread to Taiwan. I think I've seen a couple of those kinds of studios around. And if you go have your picture taken, usually someone says, say cheese, so you have a big smile on your face.
Absolutely. Now, lots of people love to take photos. Of course, we have the convenience of having a phone in our pocket that also has a camera and all sorts of other things on it. So that's fun. But still, people like to do things that are a little bit retro. If it's retro, you're kind of taking something from the near past that was popular maybe 10, 20, 30 years ago, and you're kind of bringing it back for a new generation. This is something we often see young kids when they hit their teens. They might kind of be adopting the habits or culture or technology of their parents or possibly their grandparents' generation. So even though a lot of people have a camera on their phone and it's sitting there in their pocket very easily and conveniently, they will also go out and get an old film camera, possibly. Not even the digital type, but the old type of film camera. Maybe they'll use one of those old Polaroid cameras that were popular in the 60s and 70s, and they just like to do it because it's a little retro, it's a little old-fashioned, but in a cool way. So photo booths that were probably popular 20, 30 years ago are suddenly coming back, and young Koreans find this very, very interesting and very, very fun. So let's find out all about it in the first part of the article. Say Cheese, exploring South Korea's retro photo studio trend. Retro photo studios have been all the rage in South Korea recently, with hundreds of small studios popping up across the country in the past few years. The studios, which typically contain several booths and stay open 24 hours a day, have become particularly popular with Korea's young people. Their appeal comes from their unique blend of nostalgia and convenience.
大家好，第一部分介绍名词 booth， 指小亭子，也可以是餐厅雅座或是隔间，同时也可以是货摊或是展位的意思。例如 Steve has been waiting in line at the ticket booth for half an hour. Steve 已经在售票亭排队等了半个小时。或者 They set up a booth at the local fair to sell handmade crafts. 他们在当地的市集设立摊位，贩售手工艺品。接着看到名词 convenience， 表示便利、方便或是便利设施。例如 Online shopping is known for its convenience. 网络购物以便利闻名。或是 The train provides conveniences such as comfortable chairs and Wi-Fi. 这班火车提供舒适座椅和无线网络之类的方便设施。
All right, so again, if you were talking about something from the past, we usually call it retro, kind of a trend to celebrate things from the past, like people listening to vinyl records or wearing old clothes from the 50s or something. That is retro. And we've got retro photo studios, and they have been all the rage in South Korea recently, with hundreds of small studios popping up across the country in the past few years. Okay, so if something is all the rage, that just means it's extremely popular. And yes, indeed, these things happen. Sometimes you got these trends that come and go. But nowadays in Korea, we've got these retro photo studios, and they're all the rage. So they probably got those big 8x10 view cameras that you actually compose a picture with a pizza cloth over your head. And they've got different kinds of lighting and backgrounds and things like that. That's what a retro photo studio would be. But these are small studios that are popping up across the country, which means they appear in different places at different times. Like a new store could pop up here in Taiwan. Oh, there's a new one in Hualien. Oh, there's one in Hsinchu. Now there's one in Taoyuan. Now there's one in Pingdong. They're popping up all over the place.
Exactly. If they're trendy, if it's a fad, you'll find them popping up a lot very quickly. Suddenly there's nothing, and then a few weeks later, oh my gosh, look at all these photo booths that are suddenly here in places that young people will go for fun and entertainment. Let's find out exactly what we're talking about here. The studios, which typically contain several booths and stay open 24 hours a day, have become particularly popular with Korea's young people. All right, so it's a fairly informal way, I guess, of taking your photograph. There might not even be a person there working, operating the camera. It's more like the old photo booths where you would just put some coins in, close that tiny little curtain, sit in that tiny little space with maybe a couple of friends, or you might try to pack 5 or 6 people in, and then boom, 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 they take a bunch of shots, and a few minutes later, it's all developed, and you can, laugh and make fun of yourself and how silly you look when you took those photos just a few minutes ago. And yeah, a booth is a small sort of self-contained room. It often stands alone, so it might not be a room in a building. It might be a room just on its own in the street. When we think of photo booths, we think of these things that you can find often in subway stations, maybe in shopping malls. They can actually be moved around. They sit on the ground. They're not built into the place. You might also buy your tickets at the ticket booth when you go to a theater, right? It could be a small cubicle, a very small room with a window on one side, a door on the other side, and just enough room for a worker to sit in there on a stool and sell the tickets. Of course, the booth provides them a little bit of security so you can't steal the money. You speak through the glass or something like that. Photo booths, very similar. And I think they also might have other booths that might provide different services as well. I've seen KTV booths as well, almost like a private room, but it stands on its own in a subway station or a shopping mall. You close the glass door, you're in that very small space that's about as big as an airplane bathroom or something like that, and you can be in there and have a bit of privacy with your friends. And conveniently, they're open 24 hours a day, so you can go down there anytime you want on your way home from the bar when you're feeling a little bit fun, and you can take some photos with your friends to sort of remember your fun night out, that kind of thing. And they're very popular, or particularly popular, with Korea's young people. I don't see a bunch of grandparents kind of squeezing into a booth, but a bunch of college students, absolutely.
Right, so of course young people love these sorts of things. I guess older people are probably not particularly interested, but of course we're talking about the youth of Korea, and they certainly are trend setters with their soap operas and with their boy bands and stuff like that. And their appeal comes from their unique blend of nostalgia and convenience. So what's the appeal? What's the attraction? Yeah, why would you be interested in going to one of these photo booths? Well, their appeal comes from their blend or mixing of nostalgia and convenience. Convenience means things are easy to get. It's not a big hassle. It doesn't require a lot of steps to do. You just go to this photo booth and there you've got your pictures. And nostalgia just means kind of sweet feelings you have for the past. Oh, I'm feeling nostalgia for my time when I was in university. I had such great friends there. There were so many wonderful parties and I had such interesting classes. Oh, I really miss those days. I'm feeling very nostalgic. Okay, that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson for today. Here comes the second part. We will listen to it first.
While the concept of photo booths isn't new, the recent trend has been fueled in large part by social media and the desire to capture and share memories with family and friends. In addition, with better lighting, plenty of props, and features like time lapses, these studios offer an improved experience compared to similar studios from the early 2000s.
第二部分看到名词 lighting， 意思是照明或是灯光设备。举个例子 The lighting inside the theater was poor, so it was difficult to find my seat. 戏院里的灯光照明微弱，所以要找到我的位置不容易。或者 The outdoor lighting automatically turns on when it gets dark. 室外的灯光设备会在天黑时自动开启。
Okay, here at the beginning of the second part, it begins by saying, while the concept of photo booths isn't new, The recent trend has been fueled in large part by social media and the desire to capture and share memories with family and friends. So most of us know about photo booths. They've been around for a long time. They've been popular here in Taiwan off and on over the years. So this concept isn't new. So while the concept isn't new, even though it's true that it isn't new, still it has become very popular, and the popularity has been fueled in large part, or because of a large reason, by social media and also the desire, the will to capture and share memories with family and friends. So it's a good time to get together with your friends and go to the photo booth. It's a lot of fun. Maybe sometimes people are bored with taking such pictures with their smartphone all the time. It's more fun to actually go someplace together and sit in a room and laugh and have fun and joke around and take these pictures and laugh your head off when you see the pose at the end. Yeah, it's a great kind of social activity.
Exactly right. And a lot of young people love that to sort of remember good times that they've had together and keep the fun going. It says, in addition, with better lighting, plenty of props, and features like time lapses, these studios offer an improved experience compared to similar studios from the early 2000s. So they have made some changes. They have upgraded them a little bit. They have better lighting. I think a lot of people know that ring lights and things like that that you might use to film yourself at home almost give you sort of professional style lighting, but in a very small package, right? You have these small, easy to use lights. So this is the lights that you use in order to illuminate something. It could be a home. You might want to have soft lighting in your living room to give it a relaxed feeling, or you might have brighter lighting in your bathroom in order that you see your face clearly when you're shaving or putting on makeup or something like that. And yes, lighting in a photography studio or in a movie studio when making television or theater is very important for the mood, right? You can have romantic lighting, you can have fun party lighting, whatever. They also have plenty of props. Props are things that you might use in a performance, in a show, in some kind of way to just sort of add a little bit of interest to your character. I would think here they probably have different costumes, maybe funny wigs, big funny sunglasses. You can kind of dress up and look silly with your friends in the way that people like to do when they're getting ready for Halloween or having a party or something like that. So they have some of these fun props. And also cool things, cool technical things like time lapses. So these studios, the new ones, as we are seeing them in Korea, offer an improved experience compared to similar studios from the early 2000s. So if you're an old person like me, I did that in the early 2000s. I've kind of done all that photo booth. What? They have new technology? They have new props? They have better lighting? I'm getting all my friends and I'm going back there this weekend because it's a whole new thing.
Yeah, I remember those similar studios. I think there were a couple in Gongguan about 20 years ago in the 2000s. Ximending too would have had them as well. Yep. Yes, you just sit in the booth and then you take a picture and then you can like put things in the picture like you can have rabbit ears on your head or something like that or little words and things like that. So, of course, they have improved since that time. So, yes, these studios have improved compared to those similar studios from the early 2000s, which again was 20 years ago, and that might attract a lot of young people to go check out those studios. It will give you something to do on Saturday when you're bored and you're sick of going to KTV all the time. Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Here comes the third part.
Beyond the tangible nature of the photos themselves, a deeper sentiment may be driving the studio's recent popularity in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Some observers suggest that people are increasingly valuing life's fleeting moments and treasuring opportunities to create lasting memories with loved ones. With that in mind, many people have come to see visiting the studios as a fun way to remember and celebrate life's precious moments.
第三部分看到名词 sentiment， 它的意思是对人事物的情绪、态度，同时也可以是感伤的意思。例如 There is no place for sentiment in the dog-eat-dog world of business。 在残酷无情的商场，容不下感情用事。也可以说 When it comes to politics, my sentiments are quite different from my friends。 说到政治，我和朋友的态度大不相同。再来介绍名词 popularity，表示流行、普及或是受欢迎的程度。可以说 The product gained popularity soon after it was released。 这项产品推出不久后就受到欢迎。又或者说 Recently, electric cars have grown in popularity. 最近电动车越来越受欢迎。下一个看到名词 observer， 意思是观察者或是观察家、观察员。例如 The wildlife observer spotted a rare bird in the forest. 野生动物观察员在森林中发现了一只罕见的鸟。再看一个例子 The researcher acted as an observer during the experiment, taking notes on the subject's responses. 该研究人员在实验过程中充当观察员，记录受试者的反应。最后看到形容词 fleeting， 它表示转瞬即逝的，可以说 When you are over 50, you realize how fleeting youth is. 当你超过50岁时，你会意识到青春的转瞬即逝。最后一个例子 Jill's love for Henry was fleeting, and she is now dating another boy. Jill 对 Henry 的爱转瞬即逝，她现在正在和另一个男孩约会。
Okay, now here it says in the third part, beyond the tangible nature of the photos themselves, a deeper sentiment may be driving the studio's recent popularity in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. So beyond the tangible nature of the photos themselves, which means in addition to actually being able to hold these pictures in your hands, that's what tangible means here. You can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it. Besides that experience itself, there is a deeper sentiment which may be driving the popularity of these photo booths. A sentiment is kind of a feeling, and this is a different sort of motivation that people may have regarding these photo booths. And this particular sentiment is driving the popularity of these studios. Popularity, of course, is the degree to which something is popular. In other words, there's some kind of feeling that is making these photo booths more popular. And this is in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. In the wake of just means following it and following after the effects of the pandemic, which was around for, about 3 or 4 years, or 2 or 3 years there. A couple of years ago, I guess COVID-19 is still around, but we're not as scared of it, and life has pretty much resumed to normal.
There you go. But of course, for a lot of people, it was a long, difficult time, especially for young people who missed out on some of those experiences, like high school graduation and stuff. So maybe this is a reaction to that. We're kind of looking for the bigger meaning. It's not just that photo booths are popular. What does it all mean? Well, some observers suggest that people are increasingly valuing life's fleeting moments and treasuring opportunities to create lasting memories with loved ones. Okay, I think that's generally a comment that I've seen about some of the younger generations. Observers, that's people who are looking at this, maybe experts, sociologists, educators, people who kind of follow the lives and the habits and the interests of young people. So the people who actually kind of care about this and are looking for the meaning in some of this behavior, some of these trends. Some of these experts, I would assume most of them are experts, they're suggesting that people are increasingly valuing life's fleeting moments and treasuring opportunities to create lasting memories with loved ones. I've heard it said that young people these days are not so interested in buying things, right? They're not so interested in buying luxury goods and having a lot of expensive objects or property. They're interested in having interesting experiences. They're interested more in traveling than in shopping and things like that. So it's a way of valuing life's fleeting moments. Something that is fleeting, it's here and then it's gone. It passes you by very quickly, often in a time kind of sense. We wouldn't really talk about a sports car being fleeting. It passes by very quickly. But your child's wedding, your child's childhood, that period when they're young, it might be 18 years, but once you hit the age of 40 and your kids are all grown up, it seems like that period of their childhood was very fleeting. It was here for just a few moments and then it was gone. It didn't last a very long time. Those good times with your friends, that moment when you fall in love with that person on your first date or something, it's here, it's gone, and it's nice to remember or to treasure these opportunities, these wonderful experiences, and to create lasting memories with loved ones. Because these good times are here, then they're gone. You only live once, and so we should try to remember and capture some of these moments, maybe even by getting them on film.
Right, and the process, of course, is the fun, getting the pictures taken instead of just having them on your phone and just scrolling through the phone, looking at those pictures. In this particular case, you have an experience together with your friends and your family to capture those fleeting moments of life before they're gone forever. And with that in mind, if you continue to remember this, many people have come to see visiting the studios as a fun way to remember and celebrate life's precious moments. So yes, remembering these things above, well, then many people see those studios as a way to remember your precious moments in life. And indeed, it does sound like you could achieve that if you went to one of those photo studios. And I don't think you have to go all the way to Korea to experience that. There are probably such booths here in good old Taiwan. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Here comes our beloved Chinese teacher, Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny， 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第二部分最后一句写到，相较于21世纪初期类似的拍贴机店，这些拍贴机店提供了更好的体验。文中是用 compared to 来表达相较于什么什么。那当我们用 compared to 或是 compared with加上名词，这是表达相较于什么什么，和什么比起来，跟什么相较之下。那它是独立分词片语，可以摆在句首或者是接在主要子句的后面。例如 Compared to her classmates, she's fairly short. 跟同学们相比，她的个子比较矮。好，那这边也顺便补充一下 compare A to B 的两种用法。第一个，我们可以用 compare A to B 表达将 A 与 B 做比较，拿 A 与 B 相比。这个用法是把两者放在一起比较，去找出它们的异同。其中的 to 也可以换成 with， 像 compare Earth to Mars，或是 compare Earth with Mars， 就是表达把地球跟火星做比较。第二个，我们可以用 compare A to B 表达将 A 比作 B， 将 A 比喻为 B。那这个用法是在强调两者之间相似的地方。compare 在这边有比拟、比喻的意思。那特别注意，这边的 to 就不能换成 with。例如 ，Life is often compared to a journey。人生常被比喻为一场旅行。好，那么课文第三部分第一句他提到，在新冠疫情之后，一种更深层次的情感可能正在推动这些拍贴机店最近的流行。文中是用到 a deeper sentiment 来表达一种更深层次的情感。那我们补充一下 sentiment 这个字的字根，看到 S-E-N-T 或是 S-E-N-S。或拼作 S-E-N-S-E 这一类的字根带有这种知觉啊、感觉、认为的意思。在 sentiment 这个字当中，它的字根 S-E-N-T 表示感觉 M-E-N-T 是名词字尾，合在一起 sentiment 就是指说对人事物的情绪啊、态度，或者是有感伤的意思。我们在后面加上了形容词字尾 A-L 变成 sentimental， 它可以形容感性的、多愁善感的或是感伤的。顺便补充两个这一类字根的单字。第一个补充的是 consent， 它的字首 C-O-N 表示共同，字根 S-E-N-T 表示感觉。那对某事有相同共同的感觉，有共同的看法，应该很容易联想到 consent， 它有同意、赞成的意思。第二个补充的是 dissent， 它的字首 D-I-S 表示不同，字根 S-E-N-T 表示感觉、认为。那有不同的感觉、不同的看法，应该可以联想到 dissent， 它有不同意的意思。它当动词是指公开反对，当名词是指异议、不同或是反对的意见。好，那么以上今天重点整理，我们回顾今天单字吧。
Booth. Linda handed her money to the man in the booth and took her ticket. Convenience. Shopping online offers the convenience of buying items from home. Concept. The concept of self-driving cars is becoming more popular every year. Sentiment. Public sentiment toward the new law is generally positive. Popularity. The author's book gained instant popularity among young readers. Observer. As the students worked on their group project, the teacher acted as an observer of their efforts.
Discussion Starter starts now!
It's time for our discussion starter. Here's the question. Do you enjoy taking photos in photo booths with your friends? Why or why not?
Yes, I'm a big fan of photo booths because I love wearing wacky costumes and using strange props and taking these wonderful pictures with all of my kooky friends.
Well, I guess I have to play the devil's advocate here and say, no, I don't like to take photos in photo booths with my friends because I have claustrophobia. If I go into such small little spaces like that, I get really scared and I just start screaming and people think there's something really wrong with me.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Mike.
I am Roger.
See you next time.